From $300 to $500 billion, according to various estimates, this is how much the frozen assets of the Central Bank of the Federation, Russian companies and oligarchs make up. Since the first months of the full-scale invasion, Ukraine and its international partners have been working to create a mechanism for transferring this money to the restoration of peaceful Ukrainian cities destroyed by the Russian army.
The only option that can be combined in a single model to consider the compensation of these assets is if an international agreement is signed, an analog to the Paris Agreement on reparations of 1949, which became a single international treaty that settled the issue of reparations after the Second World War. The same mechanism can be applied today to Russia. Such an agreement would unite and solve this problem comprehensively.
Another way, more complicated, is to transfer the assets of the central bank and individuals subject on sanctions separately. For the transfer of the first, it is necessary to amend the laws of countries that have agreed to freeze assets. Canada has taken a step towards such a decision. At the end of June, amendments to the law on special economic measures came into force there, which provide for the possibility of confiscating Russian assets that fell under sanctions and using them to help Ukraine. Today, United Kingdom is considering making similar changes to its own legislation, but in order to transfer the frozen assets of individuals to Ukraine, as experts say, the courts will have to consider each case separately.
There are many who hide behind the right of ownership and so on. There are important principles of any democratic state, but the precedent is important here when countries make this decision and create a precedent that other countries will look at and already try to implement it. And it is important from the point of view that Russia will understand that the longer the aggression continues, the more assets that it has frozen, the more of them will be transferred to Ukraine.
At the same time, Russia cannot prevent the transfer of frozen assets, experts say. Everything depends on the political will of the allied countries of Ukraine, which have repeatedly spoken out publicly in support of Kyiv.
Revocation of ambassador, and so there the presence of diplomats in the world has catastrophically decreased. To frighten with weapons and invasion, it is obvious that the Russian Federation is not in the position, so Russia has nothing to cover up here. What is needed here is political will and the development of tools.
Ukraine has already taken the first steps to create a mechanism for the transfer of assets. A model agreement was presented and voted at the UN.
In November 2022, a resolution of the UN General Assembly was adopted. It was prepared by Ukraine and adopted at the insistence of Ukraine, which provided for the need for responsibility, holding Russia accountable. And the main focus of this resolution was actually reduced to 2 points. The first is that Russia should be held accountable, and the second is that Russia should make amends for the damage it has done to Ukraine. But the main thing is that in practical terms, this resolution called for the creation of a register of damage caused to Ukraine.
In addition, the issue of transferring the frozen funds of the Federation to Ukraine may be one of the conditions for the creation of a special international tribunal for the crime of aggression. Kyiv insists on the need to hold the top military political leadership of Russia accountable. Reported by Serhiy Kuras, Larisa Zubenko, UATV News.